On this episode, we explore EPCOT's Festival of the Holidays, as well as share our experience at Chef de France with the Candlelight Processional dining package to see a magical performance narrated by Josh Gad. Today's December 3rd, 2024, and this is episode 725 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Ready for your next bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
So this was a whirlwind of a weekend, and I feel
goodness,
like
yeah.
I'm still on cloud nine. I can't believe that Thanksgiving was just this past Thursday.
I know. Yeah, we were gone for, 51 hours. We left the Friday after Thanksgiving. This is going to cover 2 episodes because we've got very exciting stuff to talk about today with Chef de France, as well as the Candlelight Processional with Josh Gad, and then Festival of the Holidays. And then we are going to save our review coming right from Rhonda and I for Victoria and Albert's at the chef's table for next eocasode. We got to dine there last night and cannot wait to talk all about that. But first, let's focus on, if we can, focus on
I know, that's going to be hard.
because I'm so excited to talk about Victoria and Albert's next episode. But we're going to focus on Festival of the Holidays, the food, some of the entertainment things going on, as well as Chef de France, our first full meal dining there. We've done stuff like appetizers and dessert in the past with like a group.
Yes.
And then we saw Josh Gad on opening night of the Candlelight Processional. So let's start first with EPCOT International Festival of the Holidays. When is it running this year, Rhonda? Because you do not have a lot of time.
No, and especially now since it's already December 3rd. It started on November 29th, and it does run till December 30th, 2024.
Yeah.
So
you have time up until then. It is definitely well worth going, of course, along with all the festivals. But we'll talk about some of the things you can do. Like, they have the whole
Meet
Odyssey.
Santa.
Yeah, whole Odyssey set up with the wonderful big sleigh and gifts, and Santa is meeting at certain times throughout the day. You've got Joyful, a celebration of the season, which is that gospel R&B choir doing different holiday songs, everything from Christmas to Kwanzaa. And what I like now is that they have set up in Communicore Plaza, opposite side in that little open area outside, opposite side of the Encanto stage where they're still doing the celebration. In between that now, they're doing this joyful celebration on the other side. Inside Communicore Hall, they have a very large gingerbread spaceship Earth. What else is in there? How do we feel about Communicore Hall now that we've had it for 2 festivals, Food and Wine, and now International Festival of the Holidays? What are your thoughts on Communicore Hall?
Well, it's kind of sad because you can go through Creations and see all of the holiday festivals merch, which we did. And then we went over to Communicore Hall, and there it was again.
Not even all of it. I don't even think it had every item at Communicore Hall that they had at Creations, did they?
I think it did. And then it was pretty when you walked in, like the little trees, but I think the sad part is I saw the little trees and I expected more. Yeah. And it was not. You do have the big Spaceship Earth gingerbread. And then on the very end, that's basically in the middle. And then on the very end, they are selling some Spaceship Earth tile cookie.
Yeah.
And then a couple of drinks and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So there's
Cookie kit.
here's how I will. Well, you wouldn't know, I guess, but all right. The being Communicore Hall to me, and wondering what they're going to do with it, and still having hope and promise for it is like being a Jaguars fan.
Aw.
Right?
Yeah.
Every year, everybody starts, and this is like every festival, Disney puts something out. They said, we're doing this glimmering groves or glistening, whatever the heck they're trying to call it. Like, we're going to do this thing, and there's going to be this Spaceship Earth gingerbread house, and there's going to be these experimental prototype cookies of tomorrow stand that's new this year, and you're like, this is great. The season's starting. I'm so pumped. And then they go 0-2, and you're like, well, you know what? It's like kind of a rebuilding year. Like, but next year, the Jags are going to be great. And how long have we been saying that in the Jacksonville, Northeast Florida area? For a decade, right?
Very
More.
long time.
20 years have been saying that. That's how I feel this is. Like, I keep going, well, you
Well,
know
it's
what?
still new, so at least we
but
haven't been saying it
that's
for
what we
20
keep saying,
years.
though.
Well,
But what makes you
hopefully
think that all of a
it'll-
sudden Festival of the Arts, they're going to do what everybody wants them to do with this thing?
Because
And I don't think everybody knows what they want them to do with this thing.
Well-
But they're not doing it.
they will eventually. They'll listen to somebody. Maybe it's us.
I don't know, man.
What do you want them to do with it?
Well, I've said, I think you do cooking demos in here.
Oh, that's right.
You know, that used to be a food and wine thing big in the past.
Yeah.
But you could do that for all of them. And it's so easy because you put a stage on one end and you set up chairs and you have a camera and a TV above that is projecting it so that people can see it. And you can charge for this if you want, right? In that half. And you could still decorate it. It could look great. You're doing cooking demos. When it's done with the cooking demo, the nice chef on stage says, by the way, you can go back and purchase this item right behind you, right? Like, that's a no-brainer to me.
Okay.
But they continue to do nothing with it. Like,
Yeah.
part of me feels like it is so simple in there because this was designed as a flex space that could be rented out. And it's almost like they're thinking, what if somebody wants to rent it and we've got all this stuff in here? Now it'd be like you and I could get everything out of Communicore Hall in an hour.
Okay.
Assuming
that
the
is
Spaceship
not.
Earth is on wheels, there's
You-
nothing to it. I forget
You're
who I was
funny.
saying this to. It might have been Jill and Steve. You remember going? I don't even know if any Kmarts are still open, but for the last 20 years of Kmarts being open, every time you went into one, it looked as though they were going out of business. They weren't, but it looked like they were,
Yeah.
right? With the way that they have like racks on wheels that could be wheeled out at any moment, that's what this looks like with the merch. Like I just don't know why they won't do something with this place.
I don't know.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even turn it into something with a bunch of tables, and you are selling like gingerbread kits or cookie kits there at the cookie place, and then you give a space for you to go sit with your kids at Disney in Communicore Hall and build a gingerbread house or something. Like, I just do something with it.
Yeah.
Or at least make it exclusive to festival merchandise,
Yeah.
right? At least like Wonders of Life, when they had that as a festival center, if I remember correctly, that's where a majority of festival merchandise was.
Yeah.
And then it'd be maybe sprinkled throughout some of the kiosks, but like, I just don't know what they're doing with this place. I love that they put this stage for Joy in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have just said, hey, Encanto's taking a little break for a month, and they could have done it on that nice covered stage that was built for these types of things. But
I agree.
at least they did something on the other side.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do in the future. Well, we got, if they don't do something major for
nothing-
Festival of the Arts and Flower and Garden, then we just have to assume this is their plan moving forward.
Well, and
right?
not for nothing, it is a great space for people just to come in and get out of like the heat and I don't know,
yeah,
hang
and,
out.
and it is good for that, but I don't even think it's utilizing that well enough.
Okay.
When you're covering half of it with merchandise that you can get 100 yards over at
Yeah.
Creations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least then fill the whole place with tables or something along those lines. Just do something, I think, to make this place feel special, because I don't know that anybody thinks it does. And it feels right now like a waste of park goers' time waiting for this to open.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
just for a whole bunch of nothing. They do have holiday storytellers all throughout the World Showcase.
Yes, they do. Super cute.
Our time within EPCOT was fairly limited based on plans that we had, like a 4:50 dinner on Friday, Victoria and Albert's at 5:30 on Saturday. So we focused very much so on the food.
Yeah.
But we'll check out some holiday storytellers over these next couple visits because they really are cool to just sit down and relax and see the different ways that different countries around the world celebrate the holidays, I think. What about talk about Olaf's scavenger hunt this year.
Yeah, it's back.
We are going to pass it up, even though we
Yes.
love it. Talk about Olaf's scavenger hunt. What it is.
I mean, we
what
could
the
still
prize
look
is.
for it. We just don't have to
Oh,
buy
for sure.
it.
You just don't have to buy the
And I
the
do
little
love
map
looking
and
for
stuff.
him.
We
He's
do.
super cute.
Yes. Yeah.
But this year you can buy it, and it is a scavenger hunt. And when you find them all, you get a prize. And this year's prize is basically a stencil, and you can put on, I would assume, hot chocolate or coffee, and you sugar powder, do something that then that stencil, you take it off, and then it's on top of your hot cocoa or coffee.
If you've ever had, they do it in some areas at the Joffrey stands. Raglan Road actually does it with beers.
Yep.
But on Disney Cruise Line, every time you go to their little like Cove Cafe, for example, on the Magic, you go there and you get a coffee, and they put a character on top.
They do.
Now they have this special machine that does it. This
But
is
the old
basically
days-
your poor man's way
Yep.
of doing it at home, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you make your coffee, your hot chocolate, whatever, put the stencil, sprinkle a little cocoa powder, or, whatever it may be on top of like the whipped cream topping and stuff or the foam. And yeah, you get a cool little design. So, just for me, that's just not a great prize.
Correct.
I'm a little disappointed in it. We still have the plates that we got in years past.
Oh, yeah.
That we love. Like,
That's right.
I loved the bowls from
Yeah.
Food and Wine. Like, I like those more useful things. This one to me is just very gimmicky.
Well,
You know what I mean? As
it's
opposed,
fun. To me, it's kind of like you put it all in your baking stuff.
100%.
You
Yeah.
get the silicone things and for Christmas
And also for us, it becomes more about the prize because we've done the hunt so much. For regular guests, it's not about the prize at all.
Yeah.
It's about the hunt, and
It's
that's
fun.
just a nice little bonus. So I totally get that. So I do think it's neat. But we just got, if you're a pass holder, they actually mailed out a bunch of recipe cards with little cardboard, and these ones that you get with the Olaf Scavenger Hunt are plastic, but they're little cardboard stencils to do some stuff like cookies, beignets. I think they might have had a beverage one. No, they are. They're cardboard, but then they're coated. Yeah, so they're coated with like that type of almost thin plastic or whatever. So they're going to hold up a little better.
Okay.
Also, before we forget, talk about the wristlet gift cards. If you want, remind people of our issue with Food and Wine.
So, this one's plastic, and it's cute, and it's small, so it's not very large. And this year, it is the, how do you say it? Ribbon?
If you've done
holder.
I don't know what you
if
call
you've
it.
done the parties recently.
Yeah, Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry, because they're still doing the plastic.
Oh, they are for
Hollywood Nights one or Jollywood Nights ones. This is it's almost like a cloth ribbon that has a small bead with a hole in it that goes over it.
Yes.
What's the problem with that?
Well, it's great because you can slide the bead. The problem is at the very end. If you have big hands like a man or Jeremy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what size. The thing will slide off. The bead will slide off. There's nothing holding it on. Because
there's nothing
even
holding
as
it
I
on, but you...
No, but when I took it as
hold-
tight as I could on my wrist, just through regular movement, that bead started to move to the end. So
I
Rhonda
did
was
not
able
know
to
that.
tie a very small knot in the
Okay.
end. So either make sure you do that, one. B, two, you could bring something else to potentially secure it. Like if you had, I'm thinking of like dental rubber bands for your braces. One of those actually you could probably put on the end of it to secure it, as opposed to having to tie it. because my hand is big enough that even once you tied it, it was very hard for me to fit my hand through it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad they went back to the plastic. If you remember Food and Wine, we talked about they went to a non-coated cardboard that as soon as it got wet, it started to expand and peel and all. So I was very glad they went back to that, but then they moved to a worse wrist part. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, but we got one and I do like it, and we will take it back and reload it. So we do love that part about it.
Super cute.
How did you like this year's merchandise for Festival of the Holidays? We go back a couple years, and they used to do very Frozen, Olaf, Sven themed. Now it is much more of a generalized, would you say, winter kind of theme almost?
Kind of, but just Spaceship Earth this year.
Yeah, very, right? Everything was Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship
I
Earth
didn't even
this
think
year.
about it until you just said it.
Spaceship Earth this year. The lug bag was Spaceship Earth. I mean, everything was Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
It's not bad because the Spirit jersey was very beautiful. And yes, reminds me of more of a winter instead of like Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's blues and silvers and then soft on the bottom.
I love that.
I do
soft.
too.
And it's got like the geodescent, what are they called? The Spaceship Earth tiles. It's got that Spaceship Earth look.
Yep.
And then, International Festival, the holidays on the back, and then a small holly leaf on the front, like left pocket area. That is a Mickey
Oh,
head.
there's no pocket.
But it's pocket area. That's where a front pocket would go.
Okay.
Where you used to put pocket protectors in them. You ever have a pocket protector?
No.
But you had the...
I didn't wear pockets.
You didn't have pockets on your shirts at all? I mean, I didn't really growing up. You didn't get that until you got to like business. But I mean, that was, if you had short sleeve, right? Short sleeve button up shirt, khaki pants, pocket protector. That was like when I started in IT, that was like the definition of what you thought somebody in IT looked like, right? And usually it was all brown tones. You had a white shirt, short sleeve though, button up, right? They sell short sleeve dress shirts.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. And then khaki pants and like a brown tie.
Okay.
That was IT in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
But I got the jersey. I love the Spirit jersey. It is now my 14th Spirit jersey. So I think I'm officially a collector. Right? But yeah, I like this stuff a lot this year.
Yeah.
I really do. There's a great T-shirt that I kind of want to pick up.
Pass holder shirt.
Yeah. What was the pass
It was
holder?
red. It was a thin, long sleeve.
Hood, right? Her little hoodie.
Yep. Yeah, and it actually has a Mickey like snow globe head on it that says pass holder on the bottom and has all the countries on it. Of course, Festival of the Holidays. It's cute. It's red. I was gonna get it, but then I was like, I'm good.
So, I'll be honest.
I probably should have got it because I need more long sleeves, I've realized.
Yeah,
Thin long sleeves.
When I first saw it, and as I look at it now, I don't love it. I must have it. I can't explain it. It's because it looks like...
I like it.
The design... Okay, when you would go... Everybody go look this up. The 2024 pass holder hoodie, whatever. Festival of the Holidays hoodie. It kind of looks like two designs got accidentally merged together. Or if you look from the bottom up, it looks really good. And then as you get to the top, it was kind of like they ran out of space for text. And they were like, oh, whatever. Like they didn't care. And I don't know. It just the design doesn't work, but at the same time, I really like it, but I don't like it. It's a weird.
It's a snow globe, so
but it has Mickey ears. They should just sell these.
Yeah,
that would actually be pretty cool.
I mean, a snow globe has different things in it,
and it does have on the back right shoulder. I don't have any good comparisons for that direction. If you don't know where your right back shoulder is, you got problems. It is like a little ornament, and it's got some snowflakes. I actually do like it.
That's a Spaceship Earth. No, it's not. What is that?
No, that is some of the original icons of EPCOT, though. And then, and then if you actually go look at the other shirt that I like, the sleeves are actually the Spaceship Earth theme. And then the big design is a snow globe of Spaceship Earth with all the countries and stuff represented inside. So I really like the merch this year. I think they did a freaking awesome job. Okay, now the part I think everybody usually waits for when we do these festival reviews, all about the food, right? Mm-hmm. Let's start off. Of course, what we'll do is we'll kind of go through the menus and we'll just talk about things we've had in the past that we've loved, some of the new stuff we tried this year. But first, because we are going to stroll and we are going to purchase some cookies along this stroll, what's up with this year's cookie stroll cookie jar that we have collected for the past 5 to 6 years?
It's not a jar anymore. It is a bucket. I'm just kidding. It is not breakable, but it is meltable. Maybe it is plastic. You do not put it in the microwave nor your dishwasher.
Yeah.
There is no year on it, but
Yeah.
it's this square Tupperware that you fold down each side, 4 sides, and you've got a nice good handle on it. It fits the cookies very well. It fits other little treats, like we got some mousse.
We should carry this sucker to the Christmas party. I know we say that now, but maybe we actually should do that. Let's, we got the Christmas party on Thursday. So we're going to start setting some stuff aside. Maybe let's go ahead and put it aside and maybe take it. The only thing I wish it had, but maybe I'll get some cardboard or something, is I wish it almost had little sections like a tackle box for like individual cookies, because we just had to stack stuff on top of stuff, but barely any cookies survived the trip home. So I think Lacey was disappointed.
Yes, I think so. But we told her she can get some.
Yeah, when we take her here 2 weeks, actually. So we'll start at the American holiday table. And if you want the absolute best taste of the American holidays that you can get, you want to get their slow roasted turkey with stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, and cranberry sauce. That's only $6.25. Definitely the dish to go for there.
Yes, absolutely.
There is a cookie to go for there. That is part of the stroll. What is that one, Rhonda? This is one of our favorites year after year.
It usually is, yeah. It's a snickerdoodle cookie made with Snickers bar pieces. It's good. This one looked bigger this year, which was great, but it was thinner.
Yeah, it was a little different.
So it was still good.
Yeah.
But
this is a huge cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
I mean, and a lot of these, like $3.25, out of pocket, if you're not part of the dining plan and doing the snack thing, like that's not bad at all for the size of this cookie.
Yeah.
It's huge. If we move on to the Bavaria Holiday Kitchen, year after year, their cheese fondue in a bread bowl with steamed baby veggies, marble potatoes for $8.50. What about we didn't eat this trip, but this weather was perfect for this, was it not?
This was nice, very cool. This is perfect weather for all this kind of warm food. It's so good.
Oh yeah.
This has been very good in the past. This is also where we've had the pork schnitzel, which I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Your hazelnut Linzer cookie is here. We did not get that this year.
No, but it's always delicious.
It is.
It is part of the cookie stroll.
Yep.
And as always, you got 5. I think there's like 9 cookies on the stroll. You only need to cross off 5 of them to get the completer prize, which this year is what? Because we got to bring it home.
Yeah, it's super cute. It's basically some gingerbread mix and sprinkles and M&Ms. And I think all you need is an ounce of water and an oven.
Yeah.
And you mix it up and make these gingerbread cookies
together. I like this.
It's cute.
Idea. Cute. Like, a lot of the other redemption prize, they're always something you eat on the spot, which is great. But a lot of times you've eaten so much, you might not technically want it then. I like the idea of something you can bring home and then like do with your family. 2 things about it. One, now that I'm thinking, it should have come tied to it a little plastic cookie cutter.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Second, if you were going to do something that is edible as a prize, this I think would have been so much better. Something like this at Jollywood Nights as opposed to leftover 20-year-old New Year's party marshmallows, right? This would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think. So maybe next year.
Maybe.
Jollywood. Chestnuts in good cheer. You probably want to stop here for their cinnamon glaze. They got almonds, cashews, pecans for only $6. If you ever wondered what chestnuts taste like on roasting on an open fire, how would you describe it, Rhonda?
I wouldn't describe it. I would just say don't get them.
They're so gross.
I don't like them. I don't even know what to describe it as.
A soft, wet nut. Like a big, soft, wet nut. It's gross.
It wasn't good. I didn't like him. I was so excited, and I'll never forget.
Yeah.
When they did him last year, I was like, yes. In the song all the time, chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
And they were.
And they really are. And it's so amazing. I just did not like them.
You got him in that. Didn't we get him in a little paper bag?
Yep.
Yeah, gross. Just walk past for that one. One thing they do have there, actually, the eggnog is delicious there. They have both a non-alcoholic version. They also have an alcoholic version. You can pick either Fireball, a chocolate liqueur, or Screwball peanut butter whiskey for $11.50. I can tell you from the past, the Screwball peanut butter whiskey in that eggnog is fabulous.
Yeah.
If you're not a big eggnog fan, you will be if you put peanut butter whiskey in it. I can tell you that much right now. Experimental prototype cookies of tomorrow, otherwise known as EPCOT. This is the new stand that is there in Communicore Hall by the big gingerbread Spaceship Earth. You can actually get one of the Spaceship Earth tile gingerbread triangles new this year. It is a cookie stroll item. For some reason, it costs $10.
I don't understand.
I don't understand why it costs $10, and I also don't understand why it exists.
I mean, it's just like when they have at the Grand Flow the gingerbread. And
yeah, but then it should taste good.
Yeah.
Is this? Do you think? Would you say this is?
So here's
one of
the
the worst
hard
cookies
part.
we've had?
Probably. I mean, it's not awful. I took another bite today. It's just dry. It's just very, very dry. I mean, it's got chocolate on the bottom. It's got some white chocolate frosting hard on top. They have a hot cocoa, of course, but they have a gingerbread milkshake. You can get whipped cream vodka with it, or you can get it as non-alcoholic. And so we got that. They put a little star gingerbread. I think it actually was like a oatmeal gingerbread.
I think so too.
It was better than the Spaceship Earth.
So much better.
Triangle. Yeah. Like it was, and drinking the shake with eating the triangle. And it still didn't. I mean, it just was not. It wasn't $10 worth.
No,
like if it was $3, then yeah, it'd be fine drinking it with this and stuff. But I mean, this and the drink, it was $14.75 for 2 items.
Yeah, and one of them was awful.
Yeah.
I do not know why it's $10, but
it's not huge. It's not like it takes up the whole cookie stroll bucket thing.
No. And even if it was $3.25, I still wouldn't get it. I can't recommend this with good.
No, I agree.
Conscience. It's an awful, awful cookie. I mean, it failed, and that's okay. Just don't go get this one. I'm glad that there aren't 5 cookies and you have to get those 5 cookies and you're forced to get this because that would be wrong. But yeah, go ahead and pass it by. They do have the favorites of festivals pass that is right there on the outside area facing Communicore Plaza. This year they have a brown sugar and mustard glazed ham slider as well as Reuben croquettes. They have a panettone holiday trifle with eggnog, custard, and cranberry cherry compote. We did not try this year, and those do not ring a bell from years past, those dishes, as being like festival favorite ones from the past. So not sure. That dessert I think sounds pretty good, but we will talk about the panettone in a little bit as well at our favorite booth. All right, holiday hearth desserts. What all's here? We got some stuff here. So
this is in the Odyssey, and it's neat because it's got a bunch of things that I feel like you could kind of take. And this is what we ended up putting in our bucket too. I keep calling it a bucket. Yeah, I feel like it is.
I don't know what else to call it. I kept seeing this. It looks like a Sharps container, which you would dispose of needles.
I just started to say, it's
exactly what it looks like.
Said earlier at one point, it looked like people were like a little emergency medic pack.
Yes, it did. It was like so people, it's hilarious to watch people. So ours, because I also got the Spirit jersey. So ours was in a giant Disney bag. Yeah. And we were putting the bucket in there, so you didn't see it. But watching these people all walk around, they all look like they were going to work somewhere. Like whether it was like EMT or they were going fishing or something. Like it was just funny to see all these grown adults walking around with these bright red, whatever the heck.
Actually, they're not bright red. They're more of a maroon.
But I do love it, and I actually think that it is very cool for its purpose and what you're using it for, and we will get use out of it. I just loved the cookie jars with the year on them, and I love collecting things like that. Yeah. And I just missed that this year. So that's all.
So there's a few things. So there's the red velvet mini bundt cake that we've had before, a salted caramel spaceship earth cookie.
Not
that
part
is
of the cookie stroll.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is not. And I asked.
It was in years past.
Yes.
Because we've gotten it.
They have a mousse crunch made with M&M's chocolate candies.
Delicious.
They have a mint chocolate mousse wreath, an apple caramel crumb cake.
Delicious.
And a chocolate covered toffee brittle. So we got the mint chocolate mousse wreath. That was $5.25. And then we literally didn't eat it, just put it in our cookie bucket and then ate it later. I think, so when we ate it later, it was very cool outside, but it wasn't like freezing.
Right.
Where like, I think being inside the bucket and inside the bag.
It was room temperature.
It kind of kept it room temperature as opposed to, if I was carrying that thing in my hand, I think it would have been like outside. It would have literally been like
frozen.
Cold.
I know.
Very.
It felt that way.
Because it was very cold out. So when we ate it later, it was really good. All the components were there, but then once you put it in the fridge and then took bites later, because it kind of hardened, it was just a little softer.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that was the way I felt about the cake bake. Red velvet cake, remember? It was, to me, it was so much better when it was refrigerated and everything firmed up. And I agree with this. It was the same.
It was so
thing.
good though. I want this again. Like I might want this like with Lacey. Like, you want one of these?
Now I do wish, because a lot of these are like kind of grab and go in a sense.
Yeah.
Or, I do wish that all these at least maybe came in a clamshell container. And what it feels very much like, if you've been to the tribute stores over at Universal Studios, that's what it felt like when you see their big dessert case.
Yeah.
It has that exact same feel here. So I wish everything was at least more of a like ready to take home type thing maybe over there.
We did get the...
Oh, yeah. What else did we get there?
The frozen caramel hot chocolate with Twix cookie bar pieces and whipped cream for $5.25.
Oh, I loved that.
That was really good. That honestly, and Jeremy said it best when we were talking about it, because France always has the hot chocolate martini, and it tastes just like it without the alcohol. It's really good.
Yeah, if you want to, if either you've never drank and you want to taste, because people always talk about the frozen hot chocolate martini in France during Festival of the Holidays, this is just like it. Or if you used to drink and you don't anymore and you're like, man, I miss that, then this one, seriously, it is so good. And it's weird to go, all right, frozen hot chocolate, why isn't it just called like a frozen chocolate drink? It tastes like hot chocolate, but frozen. Because hot chocolate does taste different than chocolate. So I love this thing.
Yep.
At Holiday Sweets and Treats, we didn't get it, but we will go back to get the peppermint sundae.
Yeah.
Right? Chocolate ice cream, whipped cream, and peppermint candy for $6.50.
Yes.
That just sounds absolutely awesome there. L'Haim, Rhonda loves the pastrami on rye. It's got house-made pickles and a deli mustard for $6. It's a little cute deli sandwich, right? Piled nice and high with the pastrami.
And I always love the potato Lockies.
Yes, you do. Very much so.
And then your black and white cookie is here. That is the cookie stroll one.
And plant-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, for $3.25.
I like it. It's
Another
good.
huge cookie.
Yes,
and
it is.
It's very, very delicious. Let's move on to my favorite Mexico, Las Posadas Holiday Kitchen. New this year, 2 new savory items. We've got an empanada de pollo, a fried corn tortilla filled with chipotle chicken and potatoes, topped with chile rojo, salsa, crema mexicana, and queso fresco for $8. And then a tamal de puerco con mole, shredded pork and corn masa topped with mole negro, queso fresco, crema mexicana, slivered almonds, and sesame seeds for $9. Both of those very good uses of that snack credit. When we were talking with John, that's what he said. The break point, the snack credit is worth about $8. So anything above $8, you're making money in a sense.
Nice.
Anything below, I wouldn't be using snack credits for cookies for the cookie scroll.
Correct.
I would budget a $20 bill to buy all 5 cookies with cash.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're wasting those credits. So, Rhonda, what did you think of my favorite booth this year?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
The empanada was great. The inside was very kind of soft, and then there was crispy outside pieces where they kind of, you put the fork and how you close them up.
Yeah.
I feel like this was fantastic. But again, I love a tamale, and I was very grateful and thankful that this was great. The masa was amazing. The pork was great inside, very tender. I don't know a mole like you do, basically.
Yeah.
But I liked this one a lot. Like when you had the mole with it, all the bites were really good. Even without it, though, was really good in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had moles at a couple different places, not just at Disney. I mean, places outside of Disney. We have been to restaurants actually outside of Disney, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like octopus. I think I came to a realization. I just don't think I like mole.
Okay.
I liked this mole. It is the flavor was deep. It was rich. The masa, the tamale on its own, it was so good with the mole, but even on its own, like that masa is still just moist and flavorful. These were both perfect, and I don't think I could pick one over the other. Like whichever one I just took a bite of, I would probably say was the better one.
Yeah.
But
I'd get both of these.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Hands down. When I really do think about it, I think I would go with the empanada, just from the basis of if all of a sudden there was a year-round little booth in Mexico that sold one of these two year-round, or let's say this, okay? They were going to put one of these two on the menu year-round at Choza de Margarita. Which would you pick? I'd
tamale.
say empanada. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, then maybe they asked both of us and we just get both of them, right?
Well, and I figured it was tamale for you because of back when whatever festival that you ate like so many of those and then they brought it back.
Yeah.
It was
The
Coco's.
lobster rolls. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about it, Mexico?
Empanada.
Oh, yeah. I'm
No.
sorry. The potato and chorizo empanada at the Kanto themed.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that thing was good.
Yes.
Yeah. But do that to this. All right.
Okay.
La Marche de Noël Holiday Kitchen over there in France. We did not get anything here this year, but the only new item is the Bûche de Noël, which is their chocolate fudge Christmas log with a caramel cream center for $6.95. It looked absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I do want to get this. I think the lines were just long, and we didn't want sweets when we were going. I was like, all right, let's get something
It's
warm or savory.
It's the one thing with Festival of the Holidays is it is so... And it's understandable. It is so sweet driven that, like, at that point we really want this, but it was like I can't, like,
right.
And we didn't want to just throw it in the Sharps container,
right?
You know what I mean, or fishing bucket, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And of course they do have the frozen
bucket.
hot chocolate martini, vodka, chocolate milk, and whipped cream, $13.95. I do think it's one of the best alcoholic beverages on property.
Yes, it is.
It is up there, top 5, maybe 3. It is so dang good. They do have a new spiced cranberry punch this year. It is spiked as well, with a Remy sparkling wine, cranberry juice, orange juice, and spiced brown sugar. That actually sounds very good.
For only $10 too. That's not bad.
That's actually not bad for alcoholic beverage at Disney. Melikaliki Maka, we love every year their Kahlua pork with Okinawa sweet potatoes. They're purple, and a mango salad for $6. Super duper good. New this year. We did not get it, but it was not recommended to us. It's the coffee mocha cookie topped with coffee-infused buttercream, cocoa nibs, and chocolate-covered espresso beans. It is a cookie stroll item. It's $3.25. And yes, John said to steer clear of this one.
So we did.
Yes, we sure did. I don't know if we'll end up getting it because John also told us to steer clear of the Spaceship Earth tile cookie.
And we did get it.
We just felt like we had to because it was the very first thing. And it was this new Spaceship Earth thing.
Yeah.
But he was very right on that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, of course, he's right on here.
Well, we didn't save the $10. I think we'll try to save the $3.
Yes, we could. Okay. All right. Noche Bueno Cochina. They have a plant-based chorizo tamal with cojita and spicy red chili sauce. This is plant-based for $5.50. It is not new this year, but we have not had it. Knowing the success the day before, this was the second day on Saturday that we went, of that tamale over there in Mexico, we thought, let's do this. And it's plant-based.
Right.
So we can report on it. Thoughts, Rhonda?
My thoughts are better than yours, so I would go first.
I think it's one of the worst festival dishes that I've had. The masa was so dry that it was almost inedible.
See, I didn't think that.
I thought the sauce was just not good. It was very one note, and that one note I didn't like that. It wasn't spicy, just to me. And then there was this speck of their plant-based chorizo inside, and I got no flavor from it. I mean, we threw most of this away. It was...
We did throw it away.
Yeah.
Just because this was also, we were trying to do a little savory to hold us over for Victoria and Albert's. So I feel like I've learned. I'm almost like a second bite girl, where I'll take a first bite and I'll like, I'm not sure. Or maybe I'm like, I don't think so. And then I'll take a second bite and I'm like, oh yeah, no. Or I might be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I do. I go back. So this is kind of how that tamale was. Jeremy was correct. It was very, very dry. But we also got the Pancho Navarro.
Yeah, Navadino.
Anyways, it's a Christmas punch with apples, pears, guava, orange, dried hibiscus, brown sugar, tamarind, cinnamon sticks, cloves, served warm. This is warm. This is non-alcoholic for $4. This thing was absolutely amazing.
Oh my goodness.
So good.
It made me want to go wassailing.
What is that?
I don't know, but people have done it. And they announce it. They say, here we go, wassailing. And I assume they're drinking this while they're wassailing, because it sounds like something you would wassail with. And holy smokes, it is, wow.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So with that being said, and I did have some water. It's very good. It was very dry, which Jeremy said, and I guess we didn't understand. Why was the tamale not good when the tamale is plant-based? Because it's corn, right?
Yeah, there shouldn't have been. Yeah, there shouldn't have been changes to that. Now,
right.
You would use often animal fat, in a tamale in the masa.
So
or
then maybe
lard.
that was.
So therefore, they're not able to use an animal product of any type, because this is plant-based. Then that could account for the very, very dry nature of it. If all they're doing was like masa and water. I've done that. Like when I've bought to try and make like pupusas or something like this, and I've just used water, and we figured out. Remember how dense they are when I did those last time? And I said, I really need to go ahead and just get like the lard or the animal fat.
Okay.
So that's my guess is what's happening with this masa and this tamale portion of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the flavor was still good in there. It wasn't like it was gritty. Like it was just a dry and it was just because the inside was the cojita and the spicy red chili sauce. Like it had this sauce on top, and you just basically needed that. Because I took a second bite and I was like, all right, I kind of like this. Like, and sometimes I'm okay with a something a little drier. Like, I don't know. Like sometimes I like things like that.
Okay.
But the taste was still good to me. The like components of the taste.
Would you recommend somebody purchases this for $5.50 of their very hard-earned money?
I mean, if you're a plant-based person,
yes or no?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
If you're a plant-based person.
Well, that's fair because the plant-based options are very minimal.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, you might not have a choice. I don't know if you could ask, like, can I get some more sauce? Or could you dunk this in that punch I see over there? Maybe that would be good. Here is my only downfall for the punch. I don't know if you felt the same way. So, it's served in the coffee cup, lid and all.
Yep.
Which I just liked.
It was warm.
There's something about, walking around with that warm, insulated Disney cup, right?
Yep.
And the diced apples that were in it and the pears were small enough to fit through the mouth hole. So those catch you off guard the way they did me when you're drinking it.
Yeah.
It tasted like when, like you ate an hour or two ago and all of a sudden you're like something pops. You don't know where it came from. You're like, it was stuck in your tooth or your mouth somewhere. And it just all of a sudden, that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
So just a word of warning. I think they could have been bigger so they didn't fit through the little hole.
I hate to say it this way. I'm thinking about it again. Because I'm not plant-based, I would obviously go get the Mexico tamale, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I think as a person who has enjoyed tamales and had them, I just don't. I don't think it's awful.
Okay, you'd give it a shot.
Yes, I would, and I would probably I would possibly get this again.
Oh, you glad you got that out?
Yeah.
I'm afraid you're going to lose sleep.
Sorry.
Because you're so concerned about this. I love it. I've never seen you so so into a food item before one of these. Like, you really, it's almost like, are you working for them, for these people?
No.
That run this
I feel
booth? Because
bad
you're
for-
really like, you feel like you're trying to sell it. Like, you feel bad for them. They're the little booth that could, right?
The plant-based
Yeah,
people.
they can't. All right. Shanghai Holiday Kitchen as a new item this year that I myself will deem the best new item of the festival this year.
Okay.
It is an EXO fried rice. It is, and the more I think about it, the more I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as I talk about it now. Chinese sausage, onion, green onion, mushroom, egg, and a house-made Hong Kong EXO chili sauce. $9.75, snack eligible, so a very good spin. A very hearty portion. 4 of us shared this.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, so John got it, and I would like to go back and get my own because the more I looked at it and stuff, it's super funny because I used to go and get by my parents' house some fried rice, and I would only ask, can I just get some mushroom, egg, and green onion in it, please?
That's all you asked for in the fried
Every
rice?
time.
Not even a protein or anything?
I
Usually,
might have
yeah.
done a chicken, but sometimes I would just do so. Like this Chinese sausage. I mean, this is everything that I used to eat
Yeah.
all the time, and I thought it was good. There is some chili sauce, so there's a little bite to it,
It was a good bite.
but it's really good.
Yeah, it was
I
a
would
good.
like to
It
get
had a
this.
good hit, I think, of spice to it. I just thought this packed so much flavor. Like, it was like umami. I mean, just, it kept hitting in so many things. Like, every flavor profile there is, it just kind of covered. And the rice had a little bit of a crunch to it, like it was fried, and I really enjoyed this. And this is one of those, you get it on your own, $9.75 or using your snack plan. Like, it's not like a full lunch, sit down lunch.
Right.
But it is one of those, I could eat this myself and it's going to tide me over.
Yeah.
Because we have something tonight like a Victorian Albert's or a California Grill or a buffet, but we need something now. Go ahead and get this thing.
Yeah.
Really, really did enjoy it. At Shiwazu Holiday Kitchen, every year we love the sushi tree roll. Looked very good. We saw lots of people, almost every person walks away with that thing, right, from that booth. And then we also love their buckwheat soba that they have in this hot dashi fish-based soup. It's got a shrimp tempura on top. What is our tip on the shrimp tempura?
Pull it out immediately.
Yeah.
Because by the time you walk away, it'll just be soggy and it won't be very good.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah. A tip from the pros over there. All right. At Swirled Showcase. So they have the holiday Mickey-shaped liquid nitrogen pop. It's back this year. It is chocolate cake dipped in ganache made with red and green M&M's milk chocolate minis for $4.75. What are our exact same thoughts on this one?
It's very good, and if you have a bunch of people, get one and share it because it's so rich. I personally just don't want any more than like 2 bites usually.
Agreed. Like
So.
my exact same thoughts. Well done. We were just kind of disappointed because this year they had, what were the 3 flavors?
Vanilla, apple, cinnamon, and a dark chocolate.
Yes.
No peppermint.
I know.
Why would they not have a vanilla, peppermint, and dark chocolate?
Right? Oh
So
my
then I'd
gosh.
swirl that dark chocolate
Wouldn't
and
that be
peppermint
good?
together. Heck
Oh.
yeah.
But they are kind of serving that in that peppermint sundae we talked about earlier.
Right,
It's
so we
just
are gonna
not
go
the
get that.
same, though.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
the
We'll
actual
see.
peppermint flavored ice cream would have been the way to
Yeah.
go there. Over at Tangerine Cafe, the flavors of Medina, their grilled kebabs are outstanding there.
Yes.
This is another plant-based option. They are stone baking Moroccan bread right in front of you with a couple of dips. $5. That's snack eligible, but not a very good use of it.
Yeah.
So that's one of those you might want to pull $5 out of your pocket, or just do your magic band, swipe your card,
Yeah.
Apple Pay, whatever. Tuscany Holiday Kitchen, Italy. Just shocking to everyone. Did not come out with all new food items this year like they do every festival. They kept the same 2 items last year that is based on fried dough. One side of that is a fried house-made pizza dough with pomodoro sauce, Parmesan, and fresh basil for $9. The other of that is a fried house-made pizza dough with sugar and cinnamon, so a sweet version of it. Neither are particularly great. It is what it sounds like. It's nothing special. So I would pass by these.
Get
New
the
this
drinks,
year.
though.
The drinks are always wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually have a creamy eggnog and Italian brandy. I don't think I'd ever tried in the past, but I bet it was delicious. So new this year is their panettone. It's a panettone bread pudding and vanilla cream for $7. Talk about this one.
We got one. We all four shared it. I took a bite. I was kind of like, what is panettone bread pudding? Anyways, because I love bread pudding. And John was explaining it to me. I like I said,
Can you picture it in your mind? I know you've seen them.
I think
it looks
so.
It looks like a bundt cake shape, and yeah, it has dots of like raisins and stuff. I think it comes in like white and red, like wrapping type, whatever marketing packaging.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love all usually bread pudding. Again, I'm a 2-bite girl, so I'm like, all right, let me taste it. The first taste was, I don't know. I don't think I like it. I took a second bite and I was like, nope, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
It just didn't work.
Mm-mm.
And I think it's one of those. It's hard for me to put my finger on why it didn't work. It just didn't.
I agree. It just didn't. And usually I'm like, okay, don't get the other food at Italy. Always get the dessert. The only thing I'll say is get the drinks and the fried house-made pizza dough with the cinnamon sugar. Obviously, that's not bad.
Yeah. And that one's honestly better than their savory one with the pomodoro sauce because, I mean, it tastes pretty much like a cinnamon sugar pretzel donut, almost, or donut. Yeah. But, yeah, and I think it almost could have been. So when they say vanilla cream, they're not kidding because it was this consistency of just cream.
Yeah.
And I think that was off-putting to me, and it didn't have a ton of flavor. If that had been more like a vanilla, like icing, thicker, almost like
maybe that would have been better.
Almost like a cinnamon roll icing.
Yeah.
Like a cream, cheese, vanilla, whatever. It could have maybe saved it, but yeah, just didn't think it worked. At the Yukon Holiday Kitchen, there in Canada, seared salmon with butternut squash puree, a maple bourbon glaze, $7.25. Not huge on salmon.
But that's as good.
This is a really good way to do salmon. That maple bourbon glaze and salmon are like a absolute perfect pairing, match made in heaven. I did get this beef bourguignon with crushed potatoes for $7. Snack
I thought it was really good
and really hearty.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It was good.
I would get it again. Again, this was the last thing. I think you were still a little needing something.
Yes, this was Victoria and Albert's Day.
And you got some, and then you were going to throw it away. And I don't know if you liked it or what it was for you throwing it away, but I was like tasting it, and then I was like, oh, we do have it. I don't want to fill up. Yeah. So I ended up throwing away.
Chef de France Day, but still, we didn't need too much more food.
I liked it, though. So I would get this again, to be honest. Yeah. And then, of course, my peppermint pinwheel cookie is here, and that is a cookie stroll item, and I love it. It's
is that
great.
Your favorite?
I
cookie?
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because it's kind of like a peppermint shortbread pinwheel cookie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Couple more items to go over. There is the funnel cake. There is a gingerbread funnel cake this year. It is vanilla ice cream, gingerbread crumbs, whipped cream, red and green sprinkles, new, $12. I'll tell you, John, who's not particularly a huge fan usually of their funnel cakes, said this was good.
I know. I kind of want to see if maybe we could get it with
I do too.
Lacey.
Yes. This is one I would love to do with her. We got to start making a list. We should probably check it twice. And then you've got all of your different Joffrey's, specialties throughout. We've said in the past at the refreshment outpost over there in the African section there, pavilion, they have this peanut stew with sweet potatoes, mustard greens, and roasted peanuts. It's plant-based. It's $5.25.
Sounds
looks
absolutely
disgusting. Yeah,
but
it looks
is
like somebody
fan-freaking-tastic.
threw up on top of a pile of rice. Oh, it's good. Plant-based folks, this is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you're not, it's still wonderful.
Just started to say.
Turkey poutine at the refreshment port. That is good year after year. And then you've got the holiday sweater. Liege waffle is back at Connections Eatery. All right, and the last one we're going to talk about at Sunshine Seasons. This is a cookie stroll item. $4.29. It's a little more expensive.
Oh yeah, but
peanut butter cookie made with red and green M&M's milk chocolate minis.
Yes.
It's
So this is, if you've had the Num Num cookie, or if you've come over here and had other cookies,
Yeah.
it's basically like in a little pie shell boat.
yeah.
Not, well, is it considered a boat or just a little pie shell like
I mean, it depends on what you
paper?
consider a boat. Is it
It's about a
is
inch
it buoyant
thick.
and can hold humans on
Okay.
water?
It's at about an inch deep.
Yeah.
Like it's like a deep dish cookie.
Yeah.
And it's really good. We could have just used a little more icing, peanut butter icing
Yeah, it
on
had
top.
a peanut butter cream icing on top and then some M&Ms. And the photo has that like topping covering the whole cookie.
Yeah.
This did not. I mean,
But it's
this if you ask me what my favorite Christmas cookie is, I think it's the peanut butter one with the Hershey's Kiss chocolate.
Yes.
I mean, that's not only for Christmas, but
Yeah.
that's the only time I ever have them. And that to me tastes like Christmas more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this peanut butter cookie tastes like.
Nice.
It is a little bit dry, but you don't care. Like, it's so good. I love this thing.
It is good.
All right, let's talk about the Candlelight Processional a bit, and specifically the dining package.
Yeah.
So Candlelight Processional happens every single night. This is accompanied by a 50-piece orchestra, like 150 piece choir made up of cast members, local high schools, things like that, as well as the Voices of Liberty. This is nightly from November 29th all the way to December 30th. It happens at 5 p.m., 6:45, and then again at 8:15 in the America Gardens Theater there at EPCOT. There are lots of wonderful narrators every year. For this year, for example, the Josh Gads and Neil Patrick Harris, and we're going to go see Ralph Macchio in 2 weeks, and we'll touch on that in a few, I'm sure, because we got some updates there. But it's just super cool. A little history, which is really interesting. I didn't know all this, that it actually dates all the way back to 1958 at Disneyland.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Walt Disney himself wanted to blend the storytelling, and tradition of the holidays, like, together. So they came up basically with the original one back in Disneyland. Now, it started over in Magic Kingdom. 1971, it featured a 50-foot Christmas tree, and then there was a special holiday parade which ran from December 10th to January 2nd. The Candlelight Processional at that time was basically a 2-night affair. It happened on December 18th and 19th.
Wow.
With one show starting at 6 p.m. That first year was very well-known movie star of the time, Rock Hudson, was the narrator.
That's cool.
He narrated again in 73, 74, 77, 1980. All of those were still at Magic Kingdom.
Wow.
They looking real quick, there were other ones. Cary Grant was one of the narrators one year. Walter Cronkite, like some
Nice.
big names back in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
In 93 is when it moved over to Epcot in the American Gardens Theater.
Okay.
So the first ever celebrity narrator, if we go all the way back to Disneyland's, was Dennis Morgan.
Okay.
If you want to know who that is, I don't know. You have to Google it. But since then, you've had everybody from Neil Patrick Harris to Angela Bassett to, Josh Gad, like John Stamos last year. Not back this year, unfortunately. Do you want to talk about the meal first, or do you want to talk about the processional first? Should we do the meal first?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Chef de France. We went ahead and decided to do that because we've never done Chef de France as a full meal, right?
Right. We have had very good French onion soup there. We have had very good creme brulee there.
And I've had
then-
more traditional escargot there.
Yeah.
Like, I will say this, if you have never had escargot and you do want to give it a try, I don't recommend trying it at some of the ones that they'll have at the festivals.
Right.
I would go into Chef de France and have it here.
Okay.
Whether it's part of a full meal or you just want to go in and get like that appetizer and get their creme brulee and maybe have a drink or something, you can do that as well. But that's where I would try it if you're going to try it for the first time, because it is much more traditional. It's served in the escargot like plate, pan, whatever, filled with herb butter, little puff pastry on top. The snail is nestled in there, and it's actually pretty good. It's kind of the way to do it. So we decided on the dining package because it is Josh Gad.
Yes.
When you have these bigger names, you really, really want to do a dining package.
Yes.
There are several throughout World Showcase that you can take advantage of. We decided on Chef de France. This is going to be $66 a person.
Mm-hmm.
And what will that include for your $66? Used to be a little different, right?
Yes, that will only include a entree and a dessert and one non-alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
And then we did ask at our Chef de
What did it
France-
used to be in the past, right?
appetizer, a 3-course meal.
Yeah, appetizer, entree,
and dessert.
Yep.
Mhm.
So now they have nixed the appetizer,
Right.
which you can obviously pay for extra.
Yes, I just started to say you can pay for extra stuff because we did ask if we could take and skip one dessert and trade it for an appetizer. And he said, no, they are not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Which is surprising considering how lax the French cast members appear to be
At
Chef de France.
Yeah.
Because we had a 4:50 dining. So
Yeah.
I will say this, when you go out 60
and an
days.
8:15 p.m.
8:15, yeah, for the
show.
processional, right? So we're like, all right, we're going to be eating all day at Festival of the Holidays. The reason I got 450 is because on the day that Candlelight Processional is released, it is a giant nightmare if you are the person wanting to secure them.
Yeah.
You freak out, you grab what you can. So that's kind of what I did. We thought, and again, I used mouse dining. I was keeping up. The dining packages are harder to come by this year than I've ever seen them in the past, like narrator wide. Like in the past, it was like, all right, Neil Patrick Harris, Josh Gad, Gary Sinise, but you could usually get maybe the ones that were there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'd still be available. There's like nothing. It is really hard to get. Now, I looked that morning. There were some day of reservations available. Most of those were around between noon and 1, and they weren't at restaurants we wanted to do.
Right.
So I thought, all right, let's go up to Chef de France when we get there, when they open around 11. And let's just ask them, hey, is there any way we can push this back? So we went up, we talked to Tristan, and he basically was like,
what time do you want to come?
What time do you want to come? You come whenever you want. We're like, well, we have like a 4:50 reservation. Like, can we maybe push it back to like 6 or something? That should be fine. You just come when you want. And we're like, okay. Like, we don't need to change anything. He's like, no, you just come back to here and we will seat you. I'm like, okay. So we walk away and I'm immediately like, I don't believe any of this. Like, I don't think we're going to show up at 6:00 and they're just going to be like, yeah, Steins, come on right in. No,
Yeah.
I mean, and is the same guy going to be there? We don't know. So we met up with John Self, all day, and we hung out with him and all. And, we mentioned it to him and he was like, that sounds about right. But he said,
y'all were joking back and forth,
Yeah.
but he did say and
he said 5:30 we should probably arrive
We'd be
by.
fine.
We'd be fine. I couldn't do. My brain was just like, I don't want to show up at 5:30 and something has gone awry and somehow we can't get in or they automatically charge the account, like whatever it is. So we still showed up, I think, around 5, little after 5. We were within that like 15-minute grace window,
I just started
right?
to say, but we were at that point walking around and actually kind of like
We're a
getting
little hungry, right?
So,
Yeah, but it was just
and then
so
I was
funny
like,
that you just come whenever you want. So I'm just like, Tristan, my dude, like, look, I don't
He
know
was
if I
still
believe.
there,
He was
too.
still there. Yeah, so I think we could have been like, look, earlier you just said show up whenever we want. We were going to come on Tuesday, like, to be honest, and you should go ahead and you should honor that because you said come whenever we want. It was hilarious to me. So then fast forward to us being like, yeah, is there any way we could trade an exact same priced appetizer for one of the desserts that we really don't need? And they're hard and fast rule like, God, no, you couldn't do that. What are you kidding me? You show up whenever you want, but do not make a modification to this menu. No, the French menu, that's it. This is what you get. You don't pitch a fit, but you can come in whenever you want, honestly. In fact, just wherever you want to sit. You want to sit? Those people right there, you want to sit there? You can go sit there. Just tell them
they
to move.
didn't say that.
It's fine. So we were sat.
Yes.
Where were
But
we sat,
it was
actually?
neat because we were sat right by the window.
Yeah.
And
This would have been a perfect fireworks view if we were going to be there during fireworks, which we weren't.
no, but it was
5:00 in the afternoon. It was the early bird special. It was 55 and up,
Actually,
I think, at that time.
it was getting darker and
The place was also slam packed.
it
that
was,
I
and it
don't
was
think
loud.
you should just arrive at any time you
no,
very well
it was
please.
crazy.
It's like, joking aside, it was the loudest I can think of any restaurant we've been at recently.
Yeah.
And tables are pretty much on top of each other. Like, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that the space between us and the table next to us, like, I'd almost have to turn sideways to comfortably walk through there. You know what I mean? I couldn't just hip to hip go through. I'd have to, like, turn like you're getting out of an airplane seat, right? Which, again, as we talked before, begs the question, front or back. But it was so loud.
I mean, I was almost listening to their conversation, so it was, yes.
I was too.
It was just, it's a fun place to go.
Very
with
fun.
a bigger
I would go with groups.
Group.
Yep. Or I would go with somebody that maybe, like, you've been married to for almost 19 years and you're not, like, on a first date. Like, I wouldn't do, like, a business meeting here. Yeah, definitely would not do a romantic date night in the sense of dictionary's definition of a romantic date night.
Yeah.
Like for us, a romantic date night could be hoop-de-doo review, right?
Right.
But traditional, like, candlelit French dining.
No.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy the guy's conversation next to you, because you're going to get it. So that part was interesting. But a little bit of history. This was opened in 1982. So it is making it one of the original dining experiences in World Showcase. It was founded by French chefs Paul Bocuse, Roger Vergey, and Gaston Lenotre, I'm going to guess is the pronunciation. They were three world-renowned French chefs who aimed to bring authentic French cuisine to Disney guests. So this was designed to emulate a classic French brasserie. It offers a casual yet elegant atmosphere inspired by the charm of Parisian dining. There's an authentic French staff. As well, like Tristan.
Yeah.
And who will speak in French accents, which I do love, by the way. I'm not big on accents. I love the French accent. That and Australian would be, like, my top two. But Australian, it has to be like a hunky man. Is that weird? Otherwise, it's not. I don't think it's that great of an accent. But if it's coming out of, like, Chris Hemsworth's mouth, you're like, I like this accent. This is nice. They've got a wonderful wine list. They have barely any beers. I think all they had that I saw in there was a Kronenberg, I believe, which was surprising.
I think there was a small.
Was there a couple others?
I don't remember, because I was looking for something.
I'll be honest. I was actually surprised that their wine list wasn't more extensive.
Yeah.
Like, it fit on one side of the back of the menu.
It wasn't the back.
No, it was the front of the menu. That's right.
The
entire menu is the front.
Because it was like our placemat.
Yeah. Did you know that from 2009 to 2013, there actually was an animatronic Remy that would visit guests at the table?
Aww.
He was a tiny little guy. They wheeled around a cart. And if I remember, I can't remember if he was actually underneath the chef's hat that they would lift up, or if it was underneath, like,
That's
a
cute.
dome like you would serve food on. But yeah, there was a little animatronic Remy. And then in 2013, they were like, why make this place special? Let's get rid of that. In fact, let's put twice as many tables in here. Because I can tell you right now, there's no way you were wheeling a cart through any of these areas. But what really matters is the menu, right? We decided to bypass paying an extra for an appetizer, because we're already in $66 a person, right? But as we mentioned, the French onion soup there is outstanding.
Yes, it is.
It's probably some of the best on property.
Yep.
And that's where you would want to try escargot. Let's move on to the entrees you get to pick from. There's everything from, like, a seared salmon dish. They've got braised heritage pork shank. They do have a ratatouille that is served on quinoa and kale. Of course, that is plant-based. Normal price would be $28.95. John did not recommend that from his research and such.
Yeah.
They've got a baked macaroni with cream and Gruyere. A beef bourguignon. They've got a charcuterie entree.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting, with imported cheeses, charcuterie, house-made bread. That's normally $40.95. They've got a half a natural rotisserie chicken. What did you pick? Let's start with your dish.
Yes, let's start with mine. Because, first of all, in situations like this, I hate to say it like this, but to get your money's worth paying for the Candlelight Processional, you kind of want to look at the entree and go, okay, that is the steak frites and pommes frites thing is $49.95. Okay.
$54.95.
Sorry.
Because the online menu is not up to date with the printed menu that you get in store.
Oh.
Hence why John Self in Main Street Foodies is going to be such a unique and special tool, because John is constantly checking menu prices. So, I mean, now $5 is $5, but, and we were on a dining package. Yeah.
Right.
So it didn't really matter. But if you were somebody who was meticulously budgeting your meals for this, and all of a sudden you start running into these $5 discrepancies from what's online, like, come on, let's keep these up to date a little bit.
But still, as of right now, looking
most
at this
expensive thing
on
on the
menu,
menu.
it is the most expensive. So, and John said the steak was good, so I was like, all right, I'm excited.
He has a database and all photos. Now, in the photos, because he had several of them from, I believe, different diners, it was at the time the steak, mashed potatoes, and green beans.
Yeah.
Don't they sometimes call it, it's a French word. I can't say it. What is it?
I don't know.
Haricot vert? Is that it?
I have
I think
no
idea.
idea.
It's something along those pronunciations, but I
Okay.
probably got it wrong.
Okay. Well, this is a grilled 12-ounce strip loin, French fries, and then Béarnaise sauce.
Yeah. Which they're just fries. Right?
But they are frozen French fries.
They are.
They're
good.
But they're good. They're very good.
They should not be served at a table service dining establishment.
I mean, and for
that is French inspired.
For $55,
No, they should not.
I think it would have been fine if the steak was maybe a better cut of steak.
Yeah.
So they asked me what I wanted it, and again, I'm in Disney. I'm like, all right, well, let's do medium rare because it'll probably be great. It came out and it looked really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started cutting into it with my steak knife. And the unfortunate part was I had to saw at it. The inside was medium rare. It was fine because it was still warm inside. It was good. It wasn't like undercooked or whatever. But it just, and the taste was fine. It just, I feel like I could have gotten this, and Jeremy said it the best when he said he looked at it and he said, it looks like an app, like they just brought it out of Applebee's. Like we're at Applebee's and they brought it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Because of the French fries and everything on it, the way it just was presented. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're right.
On the side, right? With like what? Some olive oil, vinaigrette or something?
It was like arugula and just some olive oil. But that was very good. Very just really clean and good. Like,
that's
really good.
We talked about that with Cake Bake Shop. Like, give me arugula with a drizzle of olive oil and lemon, and that is like outstanding. Yeah.
But I didn't eat that. I ate some of the steak. I got tired of cutting and then chewing. I mean, it's
and a lot of the fat and kind of grit around the outside, which I mean you can get with the strip loin, but and I understand it adds flavor. And when we talk about Victoria and Albert's, we'll talk about how it should add flavor. It just didn't do it here. And like what I said, there wasn't anything wrong with it. But you go pay $15.99 at Applebee's for this, like or maybe Outback. It didn't have a lot of seasoning on the outside, and let's say this: it was not a $54.95 steak. Plain and simple. And
100%.
I said this to you, and I
100%.
texted it to John, and John agreed with me. Like, you simply should not be charging $54.95 for a steak at a sit-down restaurant in Disney World that is not a filet.
Yeah. Honestly, it's sad because once I really saw everything, I'm like, well, man, I should have done the charcuterie, which imported cheeses and
I would have loved to see that, right?
Meat and
or anything else. I mean, I bet the braised beef and Cabernet bacon lardons, that's our beef bourguignon. I mean, I think the guys next to us got the same thing, and it came out in like a black pot with a lid.
Yeah.
And as they opened it, from what I could see inside,
it looked like noodles.
because I was close enough, but I didn't want to like stick my head between the pot and his face, like really get up in there. Like, I get a whiff of that to start wafting it over. I think it was this baked macaroni, but the noodle looked like a spaghetti noodle.
Yeah.
But I think that had to have been what it was based on everything else on the menu. And these two seemed to absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Because we could hear them say that they absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And you could pretty much hear the slurping sound as they took down the noodles because he sat on my lap for 5 minutes during it. So, but again, I would not get
I
the
would
steak
not
here.
get this. No.
Yeah.
No.
And even though it is the most expensive thing and you feel as though your value is going to be better because you're paying $66 for the dining package, you would be incorrect because your value is not going to be great because it's not that great of a dish for the price that you're spending.
Yeah.
However, because I don't want people to just be like, well, Ron and Jeremy just don't like the French because we poo-pooed all over Monsieur Paul years ago, right? And now we're poo-pooing on here, but we're not going to. We're going to
Only
say some
on
wonderful
this
things.
dish.
Yes.
We've already said
Yep.
this French onion soup is
Is
very
amazing.
good.
The
Get
escargot
that.
is outstanding.
Escargot.
Yep. Oh, the bread. They bring you
A baguette.
tiny, like 6 to 7 inch baguette, front and end, like it's baked that size. It's not like they've cut one down, in a little paper bag with salted butter. And it's amazing.
So good.
We,
So
in case
good.
we forget later, like we took, it's not even cut. You just rip it off, just
Yeah.
the way the French intended, I suppose. And you just rip off your pieces. You get the salted butter. It's amazing. We still had about half of that left, so we stuck it in our park bag. And then, I broke it up out at one point and was gnawing on it in the queue for Josh Gad. And the lady next to us with her family was like, did you just pull a baguette out of your bag? And I was like, I sure did. And she's like, we've got one in our bag. And I was like, they're the best. So let's move on to the good.
Yeah.
Because I went with the Blanquette de la Mer, which is normally $37.95. This is sauteed shrimp and scallops, spinach, creamy lobster sauce. Mm-hmm. That's simple. 3 big shrimp that are butterflied, tail on.
Very large.
3 wonderful sized scallops. They are all bathing in this hot tub of lobster sauce, which is very much like a lobster bisque. In the middle is a stack of cooked down, wilted, whatever you want to call it, spinach. And on top of that is this piece of puff pastry. And then there are 4 cherry tomatoes within it that have been, we'll get to that. You just settle down. That have been cooked for the same amount of time as the shrimp and the scallops. So they're not very cooked, like they're not cooked down. So if you were to take, I don't know, the edge of a fork, and let's just say you were to try to cut one in half with said edge of fork, it's possible based on science that out of one end of this tomato will shoot seeds and tomato liquidy juice all over the window.
Thank God it was the window. I mean, seriously, it went
Not
far
in the
enough.
direction of mac and cheese guys, right? Because it would have hit him. I think it would have hit him in the eye or something. It really got some distance on. Like it was pretty impressive.
It was on my side.
Yeah.
On
We
the
cleaned it up.
window.
We did clean it
We
up.
did.
But it got some air. Like I was impressed. So I'll start with what I'll say is things I would change, but they're not negative whatsoever. I would cook the tomatoes longer or do like a confit tomato and then add it at the end, because they only cooked it as long as the shrimp and scallops, which don't take long, I'm assuming, is they cooked it with it. It just didn't cook fully, so it was more almost raw, and it was just a weird component. The other thing, I wish my dish temperature-wise was hotter.
Yeah.
It was warm, but when it got to me and I took the first bite, it seemed as though maybe it had sat for a little bit.
Yeah.
But that didn't really matter because this thing was absolutely delicious. It's one of the best seafood dishes I've had at Disney, I think. The lobster, creamy lobster sauce really is like a lobster bisque. It doesn't have a ton of lobster flavor, but it has the hint that you know it's there. And you're not worried about it because you have these 3 big, beautiful, perfectly cooked butterflied shrimp and these 3 scallops.
Yeah.
You tasted it.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that part of it? And then we can talk about the spinach and puff pastry.
Yeah, it was really good. I probably almost wish I would have gotten this, to be honest.
Yeah. I loved it. And then you got in, like, spinach is a
spinach
very strong flavor. And there was a lot
really
of spinach.
good.
You know how spinach cooks down. Like, prior to this was probably somewhere between 37 bags of spinach. And then what they give you is about 2 ounces. But it seems like a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you take a bite of just the spinach, it is a lot.
Yeah.
But when you mix it with the lobster sauce
Yeah.
and you get some of the puff pastry, it basically tastes like you would go to a steakhouse and get a side of cream spinach. But this steakhouse is like, you know what? It's not any ordinary cream spinach. It's lobster cream spinach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what that part tasted like. I would be at EPCOT when we're walking around going, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? If I looked up and saw an available reservation at Chef de France,
Yeah.
I would take it, I would make it, and I would go here just to eat this. And I'm sorry, babe, but I'm not going to split it with you. I'm going to eat it all myself.
No, that's fine because I could get like the French onion soup or, something else.
But here's what I
like
would
the
do for you.
charcuterie. What?
Here's what I would do for you. I would, however, order 2 of these. I would then give you my 3 shrimp in exchange for your 3 scallops.
Oh.
So I would just have 6 scallops. You would have 6 shrimp, but that way you could enjoy the whole dish because
Okay.
you don't like scallops.
Yeah.
Or do you?
Okay.
It's a little
Let's move
foreshadowing.
on. Okay.
Let's move on to dessert.
Yeah.
So they have like a gâteau opera, which is a coffee sponge, coffee whipped cream. It's got chocolate ganache and vanilla ice cream. They've got a citrus cake with strawberry lime cream, warm berries. And then they have assiette de sorbet du jour, which is going to be their sorbet of the day. I just knew that. I know some French. I only know that from soup du jour. So what is your sorbet du jour? What's the sorbet of the day? That sounds good. I'll have that. And then they have a swan cream puff filled with vanilla ice cream chocolate sauce that I'm pretty sure
That was
we
the
actually had
birthday.
at Monsieur Paul.
That was the birthday that was the next table over, which again was
Oh,
very
they
close.
got one? Yes, they were
That's
very close.
when
That was
they
a large
sang, remember?
party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so we had to sing because I think people thought we were with them. And they're like, what are these 2 jerks not singing for? Because baked mac and cheese guys, they just had their faces full. I also thought it was an interesting pairing. I'm very in tune still to the alcoholic beverages that others consume. And they both had a glass of red wine.
Mm-hmm.
But then the guy next to me also had a beer that he had brought in a plastic cup that he had brought in from outside. But he seemed to kind of go back and forth,
Okay.
which I just thought was interesting. And then at some
people
point,
do.
the guy next to you got his wine refilled, but I never saw it happen, which I thought was interesting. I just looked over and I was like, it looked like magic wine. It just refilled from the bottom. But at the same time, you're so close to everyone, I don't think I would know if another human was there or not. So what did you go for, which won't surprise anyone?
First of all these desserts are either $14.95 or $13.95. It didn't matter if it was 13 or 14. I went with creme brulee. It was $13.95, but I've had it before, the vanilla creme brulee. It was fantastic. The unfortunate part on this one is when the custard was fantastic. They always bring it out and you don't glaze and do the sugar fire until somebody orders it, basically.
Yeah, they should do it in front of you, though. It'd be cool if they did it tableside.
It would be,
Though
but
with how close we were, probably light somebody on fire accidentally.
Probably.
It's probably dangerous, really. They probably tried one time, and a fire marshal was like, you got to shut this down immediately. Like, you almost lit baked mac and cheese guy's shoelace on fire. I don't know what his foot was doing on the table. And pick shoelace out of all things you could have lit on fire.
anyways, they
You
burnt
enjoyed it. Yeah,
I
it
did,
was
but
a little burnt.
burnt on some sugar, which I just took off and
Just not a great flavor, you know?
no, it's not.
Um,
But it was good. I just took that off and everything else was good,
Yeah.
and I ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
What did you have?
Well, I was disappointed in creme brulee.
Why?
In addition to the burnt part, I like a firmer custard, and that custard was very soft, more of a pudding consistency, I'd say. But the flavors were great, except for the little burnt part. So the flavors were great, just from a French connoisseur such as myself. I do feel that the custard could have been slightly firmer.
Okay.
I went ahead and went with the Gâteau 3 Chocolates Glacé à la Vanille, which is a 3-layered chocolate mousse cake and vanilla ice cream. I love their
It was good.
presentation of ice cream. I've seen they do the 2 spoons and it almost shapes it into like a little football. It doesn't even look like ice cream.
Yeah.
And it's just delicious. It tastes like homemade vanilla bean, like legit vanilla bean ice cream. And it's delicious. It's sitting on top of these little chocolate crumbs, which you could actually mix with it and was good. I really enjoyed the 3-layer chocolate mousse cake. It was very, very rich. It was very, very chocolatey.
It was so good.
But I enjoyed it. I really did like it. It was light. It was kind of refreshing after that, kind of like creamy, rich lobster, shrimp, scallop type meal. So I really did enjoy that part of it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to come here and you do want to try, so outside of the dining package, which only affords you that appetizer and, of course, the entree, you can do this outside of dining package season because they do have a prefix meal. In addition, just like you can do a la carte meal, we'll call it, or you can actually do a prefix meal here.
Right.
Which is what I wish they'd go back to at Monsieur Paul, that you could do either or.
Yeah.
Because Monsieur Paul's just the fix, like $2.50 a person or something.
Right.
This one's $67.95. Now you do get one appetizer. You get a choice of a couple different entrees. You do get a dessert. You also get a choice of one glass of Chardonnay, Cabernet, Sauvignon, or a non-alcoholic beverage. So for only $2 more at any time, without securing, your seat at the dining thing, the Candlelight Processional, you could try this, and I could actually see doing that.
Yeah.
To make sure we could kind of try everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Candlelight Processional. We'll close out there with Josh Gad. Do you just want to talk about the crowds this year for Josh Gad? This is opening night.
Holy
we're seeing the
moly.
third show.
So yeah, let's talk about the crowds first. It was Thanksgiving weekend though.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people will, come and do Disney for Thanksgiving. So with that being said, I feel like the first, second, and third possibly showing was packed.
Absolutely.
And when I say packed, I mean people standing at the back and I feel like what do they give it? Like 2 feet maybe that the cast members were like, all right, we're cutting it off, and then you have to continue to walk.
Yep,
and
then you had a walkway, but then there were people lined up behind that part of the walkway.
Yeah, it was crazy. In fact, I think what was even crazier is the first one was starting, and the second one's lines were super long that I thought it was for the first, and I was so confused.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was absolutely nuts.
So Jeremy actually said, like, because back to the dining package and back to that, you have specific seats. They have, thank God, started roping places off.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to sit anywhere you would like in the roped off area with your dining package seat.
And you're guaranteed.
Let's
just say you're guaranteed a seat.
Correct.
Now, where it is will have to be within this section, but at least you're guaranteed a seat.
Right.
Standby is not guaranteed.
Correct. And then they let standby in.
They're selling a lot of dining packages now.
Yes, they are.
How many rows
do you
think was roped off? Because now these past, like, let's just go back to Blue October, for example. When we did the dining package there, it was like the first 4 or 5 rows were marked off for dining.
This was
15.
I don't. If you can count how many was before us,
5,
I think
6, 7, 8. We were probably 9th row.
Then I think there was like 4 or 5 rows behind us.
So it'd probably be safe to say they guaranteed the first 15 rows for dining package. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of space behind that.
No.
Which going to standby.
Yep.
If you want to be in the theater, if you want to be in the room where it happened, that's a Hamilton reference. Mm-hmm. Oh, you just didn't care. You do a dining package.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's worth the money. And even if we go back, as silly as this maybe sounds, we were with tip. The bill was $140 at Chef de France. Mm-hmm. We left a $20-something tip, over 20%, whatever, over tip. That money for me personally alone without a meal is something I would consider spending to be 10 rows centered from Josh Gad in seeing the Candlelight Processional. You know what I mean? Now, if you're thinking, we usually go to a restaurant at Disney and we usually each get an entree and we usually each get a dessert and we usually spend $100 for the two of us for about $50 more maybe. you can also get that meal and guaranteed seats to Josh Gad. Like, that's where you look at it and go, is it worth that extra $50 or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. 100%, right? Because this was as packed as, I mean, we've
funny
seen it as far as I feel like standby and all goes almost.
Yeah, and we actually got in line very soon. Actually, we got in line when the second show was starting.
6:45. Yeah. We got in line for 8:15.
And I was like,
show.
oh my gosh, we're going to stand in this line. And it was actually already down to the Chinese, what is that?
Yeah, in the water. The big thing that you took the photos. Almost down to the holiday kitchen.
Yeah. So we stood in line, and I'm going to go ahead and say this real quick just because, but you do have to stick it on your shirt.
The sticker.
You
get a Candlelight Processional sticker with your time.
Yes.
If you do not have it, you ain't getting in.
Mm-hmm. So make sure it's on. Mm-hmm. But so she starts telling everything, and she says, she said, when it rains, you cannot have umbrellas. And I'm like, it's not going to rain. No, it's not going to rain. Because it was supposed to rain all day, and it really didn't. And I'm like, no, it's not going to rain. So when we were going down there, I was like, let's try to get down under, because we were not that far.
Yeah, first 5 rows are covered.
The cover.
Yep.
So there was some misunderstanding on some. There was a whole bunch of roped off stuff. I did see later that a plaid brought a whole bunch of people.
Well, the one cast member did tell me those were for VIP.
Okay,
so it was for VIP groups, or I assume also VIPs of Josh Gad or the conductor, or whatever else it may be. But they're stage left, and they're right in front of that section that you think is going to be for the dining package. So we kind of headed around that area, and the guy's like, "No, you can go in the first 2 rows,
but up to the row,
up to the row where they already
didn't like."
No, because we would have been in the first 2 rows. And we would have.
No, see, that's where I think you still got confused, because there was ropes going back, but there was spots where 4 or 5 people could sit at the end.
Let's just say I don't feel that the direction of it was well handled by possibly Disney and myself. We'll say that. I'm not saying Disney was at fault for the miscommunication. It was a miscommunication between 2 sides. I was very confused as to where to go. But we ended up with a beautiful seat.
With a very beautiful seat, which if it's not rain in sight, I will go back to that seat, I think, every time.
Oh, I agree.
Even for Rolf.
But if we're around, there's going to be rain in sight.
Apparently.
Because the sky is angry with us.
Because we got a seat that, like Jeremy said, front and center, or I guess not front and center, but
I mean, it's 9-10 rows back, but it's center. We're on the edge, the aisle,
and there's a big tree.
It's so perfect. Yeah.
So then Jeremy was able to stretch his legs out if he needed to, and it was just great. But it started to rain.
Of course.
Now the good news is I did have an umbrella, and I opened it up, but put it on our laps.
Yeah.
Which was great because it kept us dry. And then I think we had enough layers on, and I had a hat on, Jeremy had a hat on and a hood, that we did stay dry. Our skin did.
Yeah.
But it did rain a little bit on us.
It did. And it wasn't like a pouring rain. It wasn't much of anything. Yeah. It was fine, but it's enough just to kind of chuckle and laugh and go, of course it would start to rain. And literally at the moment that the conductor steps out is when it starts.
Yep.
How would you explain the Candlelight Processional in general? Because I know we've mentioned it before, and I've talked about it on social and stuff, and chatting with people who are thinking, well, they're not religious, or that, this is even, we have a friend on social that was like, we just don't go because it seems so weird that there's basically a church sermon happening in the middle of, Disney at EPCOT.
Right.
How would you explain it to people, whether they are religious, not religious, churchgoers, not churchgoers? Who is this for?
I think I said it like this before, everybody, because it's the story about Christmas.
It is.
And
which involves Jesus.
Correct.
In the story of Jesus.
Correct.
but it really, yeah. I mean, to me, do you feel that it is religious?
To people that are religious?
To anyone?
No, that's what I mean. To people who are religious. I feel like it
But
feels...
if you're not religious, you're not sitting there thinking you're being...
Preached at? No.
Preached to. That's a perfect way to put it. Okay,
Nope.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not at all.
Okay, cool.
Because
I agree.
My one thing that I'll say is when they sing the Hallelujah song, I feel like the and I don't know the backstory, and you could look it up for history. I truly don't know. I just know I was raised in church, and every time they sang, you would stand up. Don't know why, but when I would see bunch of people stand up, and then the people that sat, I just felt like they were not the religious people. So again, it's for everybody. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like, some people sat, some people stood, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does not, but
Okay.
I do think it's for everyone. I don't understand what you're getting at, because now I'm confused if you're talking about the Candlelight Processional or church growing up in that song. You lost me.
Well, no, I was talking about just people in general. Like, if you went around to the standing people and was like, "Are you religious?" And if they were like, "Yeah," or "Yes, I go to church," or all that, and the people sitting, all this people standing might say yes, and the people sitting were like, "No, what? No, I'm just here to see." And I'm like,
Josh Gad.
Yeah.
Because this is for everyone.
Correct. Then I get that.
Is what
Does that make
Rhonda
sense?
is saying.
Okay.
I'm going to tie it all up in a nice bow and say the Candlelight Processional is for everyone.
Yes, it is.
Non-churchgoers, churchgoers, people who like to stand, apparently, people who like to sit, apparently. And if you just want to hover in between somewhere, you can do that too, I guess. I think it's definitely for everyone. So you have your narrators who are going to come out. They're going to read the story. In between is the songs. It's the choir. It is incredible 50-piece orchestra. Your conductor. I believe it's always, I could be wrong, but I thought someone told me it's always the 8:15 show that will have cast members. Those cast members do have to try out every year for it. And it is voluntary to do that.
Okay.
So it's not like you're forced to try out or something.
Right.
Like, you're a cast member, come sing. But if you want to do
I can't sing.
But what I'm saying is, from my understanding, you do have to try out every year. If you've done it for the past 5 years, you still have to come in, try out all that type of stuff. You're practicing. All that is on your own time. But the people that do it absolutely love it. It's such a privilege for them. And then you'll have local high school choirs and stuff like that come in. It is just such a wonderful experience. I think from the music to the lights to the narrator. We could tell you how great Josh Gad is. His intro was unbelievable. Let's just play it for them, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Why is it so cold? It's great to be doing this in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tonight. Thank you, Pittsburghers. Hello, EPCOT. My name is Josh Gad, and tonight, thank you, it's just my name. Tonight I'd like to read to you while a choir of 300 people and a 51-piece orchestra do most of the heavy lifting as I just stand and look around at them. Some of you may know me as Olaf the Snowman. Some of you may know me as LeFou. And some of you may know me as Elder Cunningham. Too many of you may know me as Elder Cunningham. And for those guys who do know me from the Book of Mormon, just a word of warning, this show's going to be very, very different than that one. In fact, the only thing they both have in common is the word hello. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me today to celebrate the holiday season. After all, nothing says Christmas like November in Florida. I'm essentially just a warm-up act at this point for Neil Patrick Harris, which is already being called the Eras Tour of World Showcase. Now, I'm not sure if you know, but Walt Disney began the tradition of candlelight at Disneyland over 60 years ago. In the time since, literally millions of guests have enjoyed the Christmas story, the traditional carols, and especially the glorious music of the holiday season. To continue this marvelous heritage, I invite you now to sit back and enjoy our magnificent orchestra and our incredible singers. Now let us begin.
So just this wonderful humor, this wonderful personal touch that each of the narrators brings to it.
Yep.
Between the introduction and the outroduction, it's all pretty much the same because it is story, song, story, song, story, song,
Yes.
and so.
Yeah.
But you will get a little ad lib or a little Josh would come out of something. He made several jokes about Wicked.
Yeah.
And all, which was great. And then you get to kind of the outro where they'll say something special. So we'll just play that as well from his mouth because it was really cool about the young kids and like dreamers and stuff. So we'll just play that for you.
Just want to say a little something to the little guys out there. Many eons ago, I was a kid, and I was little, if you can believe that. And I grew up in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to be exact. Thank you to the back people in Fort Lauderdale. And I came here in the early 90s, and I remember seeing somebody up here at this podium. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I hope I get to do that one day. And this message is to all of you little dreamers that dreams really can come true. I'm proof of that. So keep following your dreams, and to each and every single one of you, have a Merry Christmas and warm hugs to everyone.
Yeah, and actually, while he was saying that, I was thinking, do they have to be littles? Can they
What
be
about
Jeremy?
us? I know. What about us?
Because
But
I
it
really
was
thought
cool.
he might. I feel like he was talking. I feel like he was talking to you.
I think, but it was neat because, as you could hear, I mean, the way it was presented, it is one of those things where I think individually as a person, you could think like, he's talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be up there one day.
Yeah.
I don't want to be up there one day. That's got to be horrifying. But it is just, I love the Candlelight Processional.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of the coolest experiences, and I really do think you should experience it.
Yeah.
And if it takes finding your favorite narrator,
Oh,
and
yeah.
maybe getting a little dressed up and going to a nice dinner with the dining package, you make an entire evening out of it. It's not just going, I gotta go for 30 minutes here about Jesus. Like it's a whole experience and outing, and it is definitely for
Good for
everyone.
the whole family.
It is. Yeah. Now,
Speaking of that,
if you get a little younger, your child might get bored, but I think that the story portions are short enough and the music is exciting and uplifting enough that they might not.
yeah, there's little kids sitting next to me, and they seem fine the whole time.
And they were okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it could be dependent on your kid. But speaking of little kids, what
She
about
ain't
'em?
so little.
No.
But yeah, so we are going back to see Ralph Macchio in a couple of weeks, and Jeremy thought he told Lacey, and when he didn't, she freaked out and was like, I want to go. And I'm like, what? No. And she was like, no, I'm serious. And I said, okay, if you want to, then let me look at the tickets. And then I was like, you can't bring a friend. And I'm thinking, all right, she's going to be like,
Okay. I don't
cool,
wanna go.
I'm
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Nope. She's like, I don't care. And I was like, oh, crap. She really
Now we
wants
gotta
to
take
go.
her.
So
She is a big Cobra Kai fan.
yeah.
She's actually a big fan of The Outsiders. They're doing it in the school play this year. And I think Ralph Macchio was 15 when he did The Outsiders.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that Lacey and many of her friends are, have that schoolgirl crush on the Ralph Macchios, which is so funny because us growing up, many people had schoolgirl crushes on Ralph Macchio at that time.
Yeah.
And here we are 20, 30 years later, and they're still having them. Mm-hmm. But now there are children.
Yeah.
So it's just very cool.
Yeah. So we are going to
taking
go as three of us as
Yeah.
a family, and we're super excited. And then just so we're not having to rush, and because of taking her, and so we have Park Hopper with her. So we're going to go down Friday night and then, do Disney Springs. And when I say Friday night, she's not going to go to school.
No.
Let's be honest. So we'll go Friday morning after we sleep in, and then, we're going to have a nice time with our itty bitty.
Very
And
excited.
see him, and then let her do Tron, and let her do Cosmic.
She's been talking about doing Tron since it opened because she's not done it. Has done Cosmic, but wants to do it again. So I will, be doing the tourist vacationer thing, and I will be getting Lightning Lane multi-pass and single passes.
Absolutely.
No premier pass, folks.
No.
Sorry, not testing that one out. But there's plenty of people this week because it's sold out.
Yep.
And I didn't look at the pricing yet, but I saw a headline. Christmas obviously will reach the highest prices ever for it Christmas week. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, we don't get to spend a lot of time with Lacey, like 2-on-1. So we're very excited to
Very
take her. I
excited.
can't wait. That's going to be awesome. If you want to hear about that, you know what you should do? You should hit the subscribe button so you get these brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And if you are ready for that next trip, of course, no matter where you want to go, our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. And then, of course, as long as you are out there, you are getting that fee-free quote from MEI-Travel. You are subscribing to get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Rhonda and I would be super-duper thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon. Anything you put on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy reads. Anything you put up, Rhonda Stein reads. So I should, type out. Okay, so I just said something. I don't know. I'll cut it together. But what are you even laughing at? It's not a funny.
I was gonna say super cute.
I know, it's super cute. It is fan-frickin-tastic.
No.
Right. We should do a whole episode where we imitate each other, but then you would have to talk a lot. You just have to. You wouldn't shut up for 45 minutes just being me.
I wouldn't.
Talking about God knows what.
Well, I have this story. That's you.
It is me because I like to relate things to life, regular life. There's not a person on earth right now who would listen to this and not know exactly where that holly is located on the front of that shirt because I really want them to understand. I don't want anyone to listen and think, did he say it was on the right side? I don't know. He's definitely said left. I remember Nick Burns, Saturday Night Live skit, Jimmy Fallon. He did as an IT guy. And that's what he wore. He had the brown, and I'm pretty sure he had a pocket protector.
Okay.
Because do you understand the purpose of a pocket protector, correct?
Yes.
It's to protect your pocket from pins
Understand.
that would leak.
Well, first of all, you shouldn't have leaky pins.
Mine would because I would chew on them.
That's
sometimes.
disgusting.
You ever have one of those bust open in your mouth? Do not recommend. I do not recommend that at all.
Is that what's wrong with you?
Whoa! Is that what's wrong? What do you mean?
That's toxic. Benny.
What's wrong with me? In general. Okay. I can't believe you just said, is that what's wrong? Like I ate glue as a kid. And I accidentally one time was chewing on a pin that did break open in and around my mouth area. And that stuff dies too. It like be on your lip and all. And you think, and then your follow-up was, is that what's wrong with you? I was huffing paint or something growing up. Which I never did do. I did set a lot of things on fire, though. What? What?
Why'd you set a lot of things on fire?
I don't know. It's cool. If you took, I don't recommend.
And you
this
don't
at
have a
home.
pyro?
If you took, so you could take a Gatorade bottle, which is made of plastic, and you take hairspray, and you spray it in the bottle, and then you light over the top, and it's because like the fumes are coming out of that solo exit point in the bottle that it creates like a fireball, like Dragon Z, like the whatever they do. It looked like a fireball, and so I used to do that, but I'll do it in the garage. GI Joes. I mean, you got to burn GI Joes.
Oh,
like,
that's
just
awful.
Cool. And then
Who are you, Sid?
And then yeah, a little. I used to be a little bit, and then yeah, one time I was in the kitchen, and this is how I know that Lacey glued that cup to her side table. Okay, because she's like me, and I thought, well, there's paper towels, and there's a lighter. What do you think would happen if I just tried to light one corner of the
Are
paper
you
towel?
serious?
Yeah. And it did. And what happens is that it starts to catch the rest of it on fire. And you freak out. Luckily, I was right next to a sink, so I was able to quickly. And then I didn't start any more fires inside.
Okay.
Can't remember if that was before or after I ate ink. Okay. We were saying that the shirt was nice. And then you're going to explain the shirt in great detail.
Yeah, and it actually has a...
Oh, you went right forward, didn't you?
Could you say...
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.